Hi, I'm Olivia.
And I'm Gina.
We focused our time at the Milwaukee Public Museum on the Eskimo exhibit, and we were analyzing how their environment is going to affect their posture and how their culture affects their gait. And we'll start each topic with our thesis and what we discovered, and we're going to start with the interaction between environment and posture.
Here we go.
Our first thesis is that the Eskimos live in an Arctic tundra environment and they make alterations to posture to cope with the cold. Igloos, heavy pelts, and natural bodily reactions to keep the body warm lead to postural deviations of the spine and shoulder girdle in this community.
So the shape of the igloo affects Eskimo posture because in the center it is the tallest and it becomes increasingly shorter towards the edges, which will enhance thoracic kyphosis and protraction of the shoulder girdle. Comparatively, the houses we live in are not rounded normally, and so if we have any excessive kyphosis or protraction of the shoulder girdle, it is not due to this environmental influence.
Additionally, draping heavy animal pelts on shoulders for warmth could further increase thoracic kyphosis and protraction of the shoulder girdle. We are not often as subject to the cold nearly as much as an Eskimo would be, and we spend most of our time inside with the luxury of heat. When we do go outside, we have jackets that are often lighter than an animal pelt. With no need to adapt to this environmental strain, normal individuals have no excess kyphosis of the thoracic vertebrae due to the fact of being cold. However, we do often see protraction of the shoulder girdle in our culture, but it's going to be influenced by our classroom environment, consisting of sitting in a classroom for multiple hours a day.
The last environmental influence is the cold and how it causes a natural body reaction, which is commonly hunching over and crossing your arms across your chest. And this will increase your thoracic kyphosis and your protraction of the shoulder girdle. So we do not constantly have a cold environment, so similar deviations in our posture are not due to this environmental factor normally. Our second thesis is that the Eskimo culture of seal hunting strongly influences gait pattern because seal hunting requires walking across ice in gusts of winds and snow. Walking in these conditions leads to a shuffling gait pattern with decreased stride length, increased step width, increased double limb support, and decreased hip and knee flexion and plantar flexion.
Seal hunting is really a critical part of the Eskimo culture. Individuals would use every part of the seal, so the blubber, the bone, pelt, blood, everything. But seal hunting requires walking out onto the ice and cutting a hole in the ice similar to ice fishing in our culture. However, most individuals in our culture do not ice fish or even have to walk across the ice on a regular basis for survival and therefore don't have the gait alterations seen in the Eskimo people because of this.
Also, ice has a very low coefficient of friction, which forces any individual walking on it to make modifications to their gait to increase stability and avoid falling. Increasing double limb support and increasing step width will increase stability and lead to a decrease in speed and stride length. Additionally, we suspect the Eskimo people to have a shuffling gait pattern to increase their stability as they move across the ice. This shuffling pattern will be accomplished by decreasing hip and knee flexion throughout the gait cycle, as well as plantar flexion during pre-swing. We don't experience this because we are not often walking across ice.
As we reflect on our experience, we're reminded of how valuable cultures and environments can be from person to person. I often find myself associating cultures with attitudes, and I often forget that lifestyles stem from different cultures and environments can have an influence on posture and gait.
For example, before this assignment, we never considered that the way an individual retrieves their food could have an influence on their gait, or that a shape of a house could influence their posture from normal. So I think it's partially because we live in our little Wisconsin bubble, and we haven't really been exposed to much of the world yet, and that makes us unaware of how different others can live their lives.
This is a nice reminder to think and treat our future patients not just as moving segments, but as a whole. The more we understand who they are and where they come from, the better we may be able to tailor a plan of care that's going to fit them the best.
Thank you, Milwaukee Public Museum.